the youngest billionaire in the world. Is that heady when you hear that?
You know, it's not what matters. What matters is how well we do in trying to make people's lives better.
$9 billion. That is exactly how much a single tech startup was worth before anyone bothered to check if its core product actually existed. This wasn't just a simple business failure. It was a carefully calculated illusion that put thousands of real patients' lives in immediate jeopardy. Her name is Elizabeth Holmes, and at just 19 years old, she abandoned her chemical engineering studies at Stanford University to reshape the entire medical world. She made a promise that completely captivated global leaders and Wall Street elite, a proprietary machine that could flawlessly run hundreds of advanced medical tests using nothing more than one tiny drop of blood extracted painlessly from a finger prick. But there was one massive problem that she hid behind secure, biometric glass doors. The machine simply did not work. To understand how this happened, we have to look at the unique narrative method Elizabeth Holmes used to establish her absolute authority. She didn't sell data, she sold a personal identity. In late 2003, she walked away from Stanford, taking her remaining tuition money to found a consumer healthcare company named Theranos. Her stated vision was simple: to make blood testing a basic human right, providing instant, affordable diagnostic clarity without the need for massive needles. Silicon Valley completely fell in love with the story. Venture capitalists and powerful political figures poured more than $700 million into the startup based purely on the promise of revolutionary science. By 2013, the illusion reached its absolute peak. Prominent news outlets and financial publications celebrated her as a once-in-a-generation tech genius, and Forbes officially crowned her the youngest self-made female billionaire in the world, valuing Theranos at an astonishing $9 billion. But if you looked closely at the company's board of directors, you would notice something highly unusual. It wasn't populated by medical scientists, biologists, or laboratory experts. Instead, it was filled to the brim with high-ranking military generals and political giants, including former U.S. Secretaries of State like George Shultz and Henry Kissinger. These men wielded immense institutional influence, but they lacked the specific scientific expertise required to verify had the underlying biotechnology actually worked. Elizabeth Holmes spoke exclusively in future possibilities, masterfully using their political weight to shield her operation from any external scientific peer review. Behind the heavily guarded glass walls of the Theranos headquarters, the day-to-day reality was terrifyingly different. The entire business rested on a single, compact diagnostic device named the Edison. Theranos publicly claimed this proprietary machine could reliably run over 200 distinct medical tests from a single finger prick. In reality, the machine flunked basic quality control standards and could barely execute a tiny handful of tests with any consistency. According to internal sources, the Edison machine was only used for a grand total of 12 out of the 200-plus tests offered to the public. The other 188 tests were secretly run on traditional, commercial laboratory machines manufactured by outside competitors, which were hidden away in separate rooms. When high-profile investors came to the facility for live demonstrations, Theranos employees performed literal theater. They would prick the investor's finger, place the blood drop inside the Edison, and then escort the guest out of the room. As soon as the door closed, lab techs would secretly rush the blood sample down the hole to run it on standard commercial machines, later presenting the results as if they came from the Edison itself. The workplace was governed through extreme secrecy and fear by Elizabeth Holmes and her secret romantic partner, Theranos Chief Operating Officer Sunny Balwani. Communication between separate departments was strictly forbidden, and any employee who dared to question the data was met with aggressive shouting, intimidation, and immediate termination. But the truth eventually managed to escape. Two young whistleblowers inside the company, Tyler Shultz and Erika Cheung, refused to stay silent. Tyler, who happened to be the 27-year-old grandson of Theranos board member George Shultz, discovered that the technology completely flunked the company's internal accuracy parameters. Despite aggressive legal threats, surveillance, and immense family pressure, Tyler Shultz and Erika Cheung successfully passed vital inside information to investigative journalist John Carreyrou at the Wall Street Journal. In October 2015, the Wall Street Journal published a groundbreaking expose revealing that the proprietary technology was an unmitigated failure and that Theranos was secretly relying on traditional commercial machines for the vast majority of its consumer testing. The public illusion collapsed almost overnight. Federal health regulators swiftly stepped in. Following extensive joint investigations, the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services stripped the company's Newark, California facility of its regulatory certification and officially banned Elizabeth Holmes from owning or operating any clinical laboratory for a minimum of 2 years. Major commercial retail partners like Safeway instantly shelved their active contracts, and Walgreens officially terminated its multi-million-dollar retail partnership in 2016. By August 2018, the disgraced startup folded entirely, leaving behind a massive trail of destroyed investor capital and thousands of severely compromised medical diagnoses. The public and online reaction to the final exposure of Theranos was a mix of total shock and profound anger. For years, the tech community had blindly accepted the fake it till you make it ethos of Silicon Valley. But this cross-platform discussion highlighted a dangerous reality. When you apply software startup culture to human medicine, people get hurt. Commentators online pointed out the disturbing psychological manipulation behind Elizabeth's entire persona, noting how she deliberately deepened her speaking voice and wore identical black turtlenecks to mimic historical tech figures like Steve Jobs, successfully tricking older male investors into handing over hundreds of millions without demanding objective proof. The legal consequences for this multi-million-dollar corporate theater were severe and historic. In 2022, a federal court definitively found Elizabeth Holmes guilty on multiple counts of wire fraud and conspiracy to commit wire fraud. Elizabeth A. Holmes was officially sentenced to 135 months, amounting to exactly 11 years and 3 months in federal prison. Her chief operating officer and co-conspirator, Sunny Balwani, received an even harsher sentence of 155 months, or nearly 13 years behind bars, for his extensive role in maintaining the corporate deception. The final destruction of Theranos serves as a permanent, stark warning to the modern business world that charisma can never be a valid substitute for scientific competence, and that extraordinary claims will always require extraordinary evidence. Hit that subscribe button to keep up with our deep dives into the world's most high-profile downfalls. Because on this channel, we remember the ultimate truth: every star falls.